For today's cup of coffee, we have nerd mode activated. We do.
Nerd mode.
Well, it's been a while since we've done it. Going into the realm of research. Actually, I do that a lot.
Nerds.
But sometimes more than others.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking about this the other day as far as fear. Now, we've explored the spirit of fear, how fears occur, different things like that over the years. But something I hadn't really explored is there a difference between fear in younger people and those that are aging? Because a lot of times it seems that older people have a lot of fears.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you listen to some people speak, now it's not just older people, but if you listen to some of them, when you hear the word "I'm afraid" multiple times in a sentence, there's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been the science done about this.
Science.
So I thought it was pretty cool that there were resources. Now, the resources I've got are several years old, but they came up first on the search results.
Loves it.
So, yeah, a little bit of convenience there. And this first article, and the links will be in the description box, by a website called NoCamels.
No Camel cigarettes?
That's what I wondered. It's like, yeah, it's either Marlboro or Winston's.
The camels are bad.
But the article is entitled, "Age Dramatically Increases Our Fear of Everything, a Study Shows." And this was from
Get your hands out of your asses.
June 4th, 2015, by the NoCamels team. One hump or two, I wonder.
One cigarette or many.
And
we hate them.
So,
I hate them.
not a fan of the Camels. The non-filtered ones, you're too young to remember those. They were kind of rough.
Cowboy killers.
They're all cowboy killers.
Not the menthols.
Oh, yeah, the menthols are worse. But anyhow, I get low on arsenic, which is fine, but I'm addicted. So the article states, young people's brains cope with stress and fear in a completely different way to adults, challenging the assumption that brains of humans of all ages react similarly to fear. Whether it's hesitancy to ride a roller coaster or the tendency to drive in the slow lane, the study's findings may finally explain why people tend to become more cautious as they age. And a University of Haifa, I think that was right. I actually did look that up. Study conducted on rats found that young rats were able to eliminate fear in the brain more rapidly than adult rats. Adults, on the other hand, continue to feel fear even after the fearful event has passed. Until now, conventional wisdom in the field has been that these mechanisms operate in a similar way in young people and adults. However, Professor Maron, I think they pronounced it Maroon, honestly,
Maroon.
Because it was, I think it's a French name, head of the Sagal Department of Neurobiology who conducted the study, explains that she instinctively felt that this assumption was problematic. And she had stated, quote, "It all began when I was knocked on my head while I was in a swimming pool. A mild form of trauma, but enough to persuade me not to go back into the swimming pool for a long time. But children who were in the pool and who were knocked themselves much more badly than I didn't think twice about jumping straight back into the water. When I saw this, I realized that this was something I needed to examine in the laboratory," or laboratory, end quote.
Laboratory.
Well, I mean,
the lavatory.
That's different. But this is pretty cool, and that is how the actual science is supposed to work. Mm-hmm. You start out with a question. It's like, wonder why this is like this is.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
good science.
It is good science. Now, according to this study, this increase in fear with age is related to the plasticity or flexibility of the prefrontal cortex of the brain, the area responsible for complex cognitive behavior. And the professor states, quote, "Childhood is a period when the brain and the prefrontal cortex are still developing, so the mechanism of action in adults and young people is not the same," end quote. And we've discussed this a lot, which is why teenagers will do stupid stuff because there is a shrinkage in that prefrontal area. Mm-hmm. And that...
all the way up until you're 25.
Well, some people, I don't think that it ever goes back to normal. But that's, you know, as adults, people are going, that's stupid. Do you not understand? If you do this, this will happen. And that area of the brain, basically they are brain damaged for a certain period of time. They don't understand that. Mm-hmm. And that guy's like, if you ask an adult, would you set your hair on fire? Adults are going to laugh and go, no. And if you ask a teenager, they're going to sit there and go, how much of my hair? For how long do I need to put it on fire? Everybody's seen that.
Give me the right amount of money and the right amount of alcohol, sure.
Exactly. It says, during exposure to a scary or stressful experience, two cerebral mechanisms enable us to respond efficiently to fear, and on the other hand, start that over, to return to normality once the event ends. During the event, a mechanism located in the amygdala effectively tells us that we are in a frightening situation and must act with fight or flight. And actually, now there is the freeze response.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, huh?
Well, yeah.
Fight, flight, or freeze. We always knew that it was there, though.
Well, we always...
because, like, if you're so scared... because, like...
that you can't move.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had that in my dreams.
Sure.
And I've had that happen to me in real life. It's like you literally... it's like... It's like almost you're frozen.
Right.
Like literally frozen in ice or something. It's like...
right.
It's almost like a state of... it's a state of shock.
It's a paralysis, yeah. It is a paralysis. But even since this was written in 2015, that other response, that third response of freeze, has been added. Mm-hmm. Because for years it was just fight or flight.
Yeah.
So that's another thing about the science when it's done correctly. As you have new findings, you add that to the knowledge that already exists, or you overwrite the previous knowledge.
Speaking of brain damage, y'all want a cat?
Oh, Lord.
Y'all want a cat?
After the event...
someone tell me that we need to get rid of... we need to get rid of this bitch.
Oh.
It's horror.
After the event, a fear extinction process begins in the prefrontal cortex and effectively returns the body to its routine state. When the later mechanism fails to function properly, we continue to experience reactions of fear while we are no longer in need of it, leading to symptoms of anxiety and post-trauma. Mm. Now, this is significant. We'll discuss some of this here in just a minute.
Let's discuss that now. Why not?
Well, it's going to make sense.
Okay.
If anybody has ever been around an older person that has had... it may not be as traumatic to us, but it is traumatic to them, such as they fall or something shocking happens in their life. And that, especially if they have early onset dementia, mm-hmm. that can exacerbate that.
Oh, yeah.
Greatly. We've seen that in action. Yeah.
97-year-old great aunt.
Yeah.
That was not only traumatic for her, but the aftermath of that was traumatic for us.
Right. And that was one of the sad things when I, was a corrections officer, that we would have some of these older people that, I know one gentleman that there had been a shooting or something in the apartment complex where he lived. That did something, that trauma did something to his brain. That was, I don't know if it was necessarily dementia, but it was some kind of action like that. And why these people were incarcerated was because if they got aggressive in a nursing home or whatever, they would incarcerate them, which is perverse.
Yeah. Mm.
So, anyhow, and it says...
Cause more trauma to the already
absolutely.
Traumatized.
Yeah, let's punish people for being sick. They do it all the time. In the study... young post-weanling and adult rats were exposed to a mild traumatic event. Some of them were then placed on an elevated platform, creating exposure to stress, while the other control groups were not exposed to stress. And the findings showed that the adult animals reacted as expected. Strong fear responses were seen by comparison to the rats that were not exposed to the trauma. The group that was not exposed to stress extinguished fear more rapidly than the group that was exposed to stress. So you got to wonder, you've got that cortisol response because the adrenals are what produce the cortisol,
right,
to give you the fight, flight, or whatever.
Fight, flight, or freeze.
So when you have stress for such a long period of time, you get that cortisol, you get inflammation, which leads to a lot of other diseases.
Question. Can TV shows, and TV in general, movies, whatever, media, exacerbate that
Sure.
too?
Absolutely. When people get emotionally involved with a show,
Like
if they
earlier.
get angry, if they get frightened, yes.
Earlier, we were watching Zach Bagans' The Haunted Museum, and the second episode was of this lady who had this machine. She ended up summoning this demon by accident, and whoever that other family was, fuck you, dude, for not actually, like, you know, helping her, taking pity upon her. Fuck you.
No.
Fuck you for that.
He had told her to stop what she was doing. She didn't listen. She made a choice. Then when she had summoned the demon, she wanted him to help her get rid of it, which would have put him at risk, put his family at risk. No, he did the responsible thing. It was sort of like, okay, you know, you made your bed, lie in it.
That is a fucked up way.
No, it is not. When you tell somebody, don't do this, this is not going to end well, and they do it anyhow, and then they try to drag somebody back in that. No. Just tell them, no, this is your shit. You caused the shit show. Don't include me. I'm not going to go in there and sling shit with you. That's to set boundaries. That's an appropriate response. So anyhow, we got the stress. But among the young rats, the picture was completely reversed. The fear reactions of the rats exposed to trauma were much lower, and the fear extinction time was much shorter than among the adult rats. Moreover, the young rats exposed to stress actually extinguished fear more rapidly than their peers that were not exposed to stress. So young people get over shit
Much easier.
Yeah, than those who have not had some kind of trauma. We can see that in the world today. Mm-hmm. Some of the people who have been pampered and petted and that they have never been through anything are some of the biggest petty bitches that you'll ever see. That's just fact. And anyhow, exposure to stress among the young rats actually accelerated the return to routine and significantly reduced fear reactions. It's like kids. They need to be able to go and fall down, skin their knees, whatever, and to understand that they will heal. Kids that are never allowed to go out and skin their knees, climb trees, whatever, then they don't understand that they will heal. It puts this perpetual fear into them. We see that in our world at play, too.
Send them to a haunted house.
Yeah.
A haunted attraction.
Yeah.
I want to go to a haunted attraction. I want to go through Ripley's Haunted Adventure. Next time we go to Myrtle Beach, whenever that will be, we're going to Ripley's Haunted Adventure, and I'm dragging your ass along with me.
I went through it the last time you were too young. It was made at you being a responsible parent.
Yeah, but like, I'm dragging your ass along with me. We could both be scared shitless.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah. I want the damn t-shirt.
The investigators also examined psychological changes to the brain and found a similar pattern. Prefrontal cortex plasticity, the strength of the connection between the synapses, which relates with the success of extinction in the area responsible for fear extinction, was extremely high among the young rats exposed to stress. Among the adult rats exposed to stress, by contrast, the plasticity level was extremely low, showing damage to the plasticity by comparison to the control group, thus further confirming the behavioral observations on enhanced extinction. Which means when you've been through shit for so many years, as you get older, you can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. It is not a matter of building up resiliency at a certain point.
Right.
And when you have been through stress for so many years, it takes less to tip you over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is the science that proves that.
It's your adrenal glands. They're stressed the fuck out.
Absolutely.
They're on top of your kidneys, always going like...
Mine look like little tiny raisins at this point. They do. They do.
I was listening to someone, and their friend was like, "My adrenal glands are sitting on top of my kidneys are screaming right now."
Yeah.
And the main person in the video responded like, "What? Your adrenal glands?" It's like, yeah, they don't sit on top of your... Yeah, they do. They sit right on top of your kidneys. I thought they were like further back or something like that. I'm like, no, they sit on top of your kidneys.
Yeah. They're like little triangles.
Yeah.
Except mine look like little raisin triangles.
The little prunes.
Yeah, I'm not even that big. It says, in the final stage of the study, the investigators sought to examine the impact on the NMDA receptor. This receptor controls the changes in prefrontal cortex plasticity and is responsible for the successful acquisition of fear extinction. It is known that blockage of this receptor in adult rats during exposure to stress helps restore fear extinction to the level in the control group. The current study also found that a receptor blocker increased plasticity and accelerated fear extinction in adult rats exposed to stress. So a receptor blocker, there are such things that could help with that. Mm-hmm. It says, however, the drug that blocked the receptor had no impact on all of the young rats, neither in terms of plasticity nor behavior. It wouldn't need to because that group doesn't need it. So, and Professor Maroon, whatever.
Hi, Maroon.
Has stated, quote, this implies that it's wrong to claim that the mechanism in adults and young people is identical and simply operates a little differently. The mechanism is actually completely different. We can therefore state that we are familiar with the fear extinction among adults, but that we still need to work out how the brain works to extinguish fear in young people. The immediate significance of this finding is that we really cannot continue treating child trauma victims with the same methods and drugs we use to treat adult victims. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's pretty cool. Now, I'm not against all pharmaceuticals, and that there are people that if they need medications, by all means, after you've done the research and you find out the pros and cons of any kind of medication, mm-hmm. It's beneficial.
And there are some adults that also don't do well with main medications and such like that.
Yeah, the pharmaceuticals, the chemicals are not my friends a lot of times.
I have yet to find a mood stabilizer or whatever the fuck.
Well, and that is one of the problems with younger people who have either anxiety or depression or something. The current medications available have some horrific side effects, some of which will make the symptoms much worse.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, on a dangerous level than what they're supposed to treat. If you've got a young person, especially under the age of 25, and they put them on some of these antidepressants, if you read the inserts, always read the inserts. It says, as far as that, it can increase suicidal ideation.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Well, hell, that's why you're trying to get a kid some help for depression.
Exactly.
The anti-anxiety drugs that we currently have are highly addictive.
Yeah.
I mean, because that field includes Valium, it includes Xanax. And the side effects, there's a lot of side effects of psychiatric drugs that have, and any drug, that have not even been considered. Mm. Because there can be psychological side effects for medications that they just aren't studied. It's always the physical effects. Even if it's a high blood pressure medicine or something, for some people that can cause a psychological change.
Yeah.
Which,
that ain't good.
No, it's not. Are you leaning in to say something?
No, I just have bad posture.
Okay. Then our next report is from HealthCentral by Dr. Jerry Kennard, Ph.D. And this article is How Fears and Phobias Change as We Age. And this was from May 20th of 2016. And he says that childhood fears tend to be age-specific and fairly predictable. As the child gets older, the nature and intensity of those fears often diminish, but sometimes the fears do follow into adulthood. It says, while many adults leave behind common childhood fears, most never leave behind the memory of those fears.
Which can fuck a person up.
That's interesting.
Although I had multiple traumas when I was little, and I still did, like, falling down the steps. I'm fine with that.
But that was accident, primary. That was traumatic for me. Anyhow.
Me gashing my eye. I'm fine with that.
Oh, God. And it's like, this is why your mama's nerves are shot.
This is why you got little raisins.
Right. That and many other things. And he says, here's what we know about changing patterns of fears and phobias over a lifespan. Now, with childhood fears, very young babies can show fear. A sudden noise or loss of support will result in what's known as a startle or moro reflex. This involves rapid opening and closure of the arms and usually crying.
I mean, that's why you have the trauma with the balloons.
Yeah. That's followed me for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think it was Bavinsky reflex.
You just hate clowns too.
That you can tell if there's brain damage by stroking the insole of somebody's foot in a take it like a pencil or something and sweep, and if their toes sort of splay, that can be a symptom of some brain damage.
We should try that on each other.
I had that.
We should try
I have that. We did that in nursing school. Are you kidding? We did all this stuff to each other.
I don't know if I have that or not. We'll try that on me.
Well, I'll try it on you later. It says,
y'all ain't getting that shit for free.
Of course, the moro reflex.
Y'all ain't you fucking foot fetish freaks.
This involves rapid opening and closure of the arms and usually crying. Well, yeah, because that's what they've got. That's the only thing that they can do.
Yeah.
Then from about 6 months, children may show a fear of strangers, heights, masks, and being separated from parents. From the age of 2, children begin to comprehend their lack of control over many situations. This, coupled with a developing imagination, may result in, for example, fears of imaginary creatures, thunder, train, or large animals. Or they may actually be interacting with the spirit world. See, they're totally discounting that. Never totally discount that. From the age,
see dead people.
Yeah, really. From the age of 3, active imagination is well established. It becomes a fearful time for many children, with monsters, burglars, being alone, the dark, and scary places high on the list of fears. From the age of 5, fears become more concrete in nature. 5-year-olds will fear getting lost or hurting themselves or losing their parents. Now we wonder, do they develop those fears on their own, or did their parents instill those fears into them?
Well, that was one of my fears when I was little. And it still is one of my fears, but you know.
Well, it just...
I had a drink, I'm pretty sure I told this to you, and it's pretty relevant. I was down at Dad's. Y'all were getting in the van, and there I was standing in the doorway. I'm like, y'all are leaving me. And y'all were pulling out.
And how old were you when you had this?
I was little. I was little. But still to this day, it was vivid, and I was bawling, and I woke up crying.
Well, you've always had this anxiety, this separation anxiety thing.
From the get-go.
Yeah. And I mean, my God, I'm still here.
Yeah.
But apparently some children are born with anxiety disorder. And that's got to be some kind of brain developmental issue. 6 and 7-year-olds will often merge a developing sense of reality with a still active imagination. Well, my God, I would hope they would still have an active imagination past the year of, age of 7. Natural disasters, things living in the attic, and witches and ghosts are common fears. From around the age of 7 onward, anxieties tend to shift more in the direction of activities at school, natural events, and social situations. Because then you've got other kids that their parents have poured the fears into them. Then you've got teachers that pour their fears into these kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we wonder why...
Cut that shit out.
And then we wonder why we have societies that are totally neurotic.
I got scolded one time in middle school for, like... So there was this barrier, and there was the fan or whatever outside. And so, like... There was like this little string of tape or whatever.
Right.
And obviously, and I knew it, but I wanted to step on the rocks. So I went like under it.
Right.
And I stepped on the rocks and then immediately stepped back out. And the teacher was like, don't do that. Outside the window. I'm like, I literally was like, excuse me?
The reason
I'm not hurting anything. I just wanted to feel the texture of the rocks. I didn't say that.
I understand that, but it's also one of those that you did go outside the boundaries where the fan was that could have seriously hurt you. But if it were
if
that
I stuck
dangerous,
my fingers in it.
If they were that concerned, they should have put up a gate.
Exactly.
So anyhow, I don't know. It's just. It says the onset, nature, and duration of those fears, not phobias, are both developmental and predictable. A phobia is a disproportionate fear of an object or situation. While children may show fear that is out of proportion to actual danger, they probably don't know at this time. Like you said, as far as you stepping on the rocks, not thinking about, oh shit, what if I fall into the fan?
The fan. The tape was like several feet away from the actual fan.
Okay.
It would not if I walked up to the fan, that's a different story.
Remember, kid is 23, so he's still got the prefrontal shrinkage going on.
Don't stick your fingers in the fucking fan. Don't stick your face in the fan. Don't try to lick it. Don't try to hump it. Don't do anything to it. Don't touch the fucking fan. You can step on the gravel, that's fine.
A fear that
now I fucked up the mic, but it was worth it.
A fear that doesn't diminish or that follows the person into adulthood would most certainly be considered a phobia. I'm not sure about that definition. A phobia is an irrational fear of something. That doesn't mean that it's continued fear of something.
You just hate clowns.
I do.
It's not a fear. You just want to punch.
Used to have
you just want to punch the fuck out.
I mean, I truly had a phobia. Like,
what is up with that?
I don't know.
Were you traumatized by a clown?
Yeah,
because you watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
No. It had to do, honestly. Clowns are creepy as shit. They really are. And went to circus. Clowns were out in amongst the crowd. And it just produced this weird total panic response. And so that went on for many years until it was a matter of going, hey, I'm not a little kid anymore. I could punch fucker.
Don't punch the clowns. Don't punch the clowns. Wait.
But I could.
Do I have to worry about taking you into Ripley's Haunted Adventure? Because I don't want you punching the actors.
No, I haven't punched the actors. But now I did the one that was pestering the kid.
It was his job.
I know. And I told him, I said, it's enough. I said, she's scared. But now the parent on that she was not of the age that she should have been to go through that type of intensity.
I mean, I would be that parent. I would traumatize the fuck out of my kids with that shit. I would scare them shitless.
But I think I must have scared dude because I was serious and he knew it.
Have you seen you? You look like a corrections officer 24/7. Even 10 years out of the field.
You know, I've always
even before that.
I've had people most of my life look at me and go, either you're in law enforcement or military, and I'm like, well, sort of, yeah, both of them. So I don't know. It must be some kind of essence that you can't wash off. It says that
I'm just worm. I'm a gummy bear. That's it.
Adults typically develop phobias between the ages of 15 and 25. The National Institute of Mental Health Statistics point to 19 million people, or 8.7% of the U.S. population, as being affected by specific phobias. That's significant.
Yeah.
The focus of specific phobias is typically dental or medical procedures, animal heights, public transportation, flying, elevators, and thunder. Mine is not the thunder. It's the lightning, because you can get killed by that. I think I just have a healthy dose of reality.
Just stay away from the windows. Sit in the hallway. There you go.
Well, that's tornado thing. Older adults are less likely to develop phobias.
Lightning can cause, lightning can shatter glass.
It can strike from a mile away.
Yeah.
And because I researched this, I have all this knowledge on this stuff, and it just... anyhow. However, as Professor Kevin Gurney points out, acrophobia, a fear of heights, may develop in later life, whereas before it was absent. And he attributes this in part to a deteriorating sense of balance as we age. He also says that many older adults have people in their lives who may depend on them, and this can increase worries about the possibility of falling and being less able to meet commitments. Oh my God, that was just me in a nutshell. As we age, we produce much less adrenaline, which can cause racing hearts and dizziness. This means the intense fears we may have experienced in youth no longer trouble us as much. However, older people often experience a greater sense of vulnerability, so things like heights or big crowds become more of an issue. Okay, so what he said sort of, contradicts the first article, and that's okay in the science. Mm-hmm. But I trust the other one more because they had the brain scans that says, yes, there is a difference. Yeah. The amygdala does not lie. Yes. Then our last one that we have is from LiveScience, and
I like that adrenaline rush.
Well, the adrenaline rush can be good.
Rush.
Adrenaline
rush. It's rusty.
Oh God, that's what I have.
It's rusty, man.
It was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? Yes. The adrenaline rush can be good, but for those of us that do have the raisin adrenals,
it's a rusted raisin.
It wipes us out for days afterwards. You just can't, you can't jump back in like you could before. This is by Fred Cicetti.
That's why you exercise that.
Published August the 9th of 2010, and it says anxiety may increase with age. Now, this question was interesting. It says, I thought maturity with its wider perspective on life would bring me some peace, but I'm more anxious now than when I was younger. Is that common among geezers?
Yeah.
We need to find out where that term came from. I like my term of old bat. The answer is...
Elder bat.
Elder goth was what it was.
Elder goth, yeah.
So...
Y'all just bats at this point.
The answer was because the stress of health problems, losses, and other major life events build up as we get older, we tend to become anxious. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we have...
Shave off half your eyebrows, that will take, and go out in public. That will take all that anxiousness away from you.
Oh, you don't realize on stuff like that, we don't give a shit anymore. Truly. It's just like...
Does that mean I can do it and I can have the Spock eyebrows?
You do whatever you want to do. I will separate myself and I don't know who he is. I don't know. It's somebody else's child. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've done that. So I can do that.
And it says, some surveys suggest that 1 in 5 older adults suffer anxiety symptoms that require treatment. In addition to psychological causes, medical disorders common in older adults can be directly responsible for the anxiety we feel. These include heart disease, neurologic illness, thyroid, and other hormone problems. In addition, anxiety can be a drug side effect. And seniors take a lot of medication. See, that's where we were talking about that they don't consider some of the psychological ramifications of medications.
Oh, medication can fuck a person up like hardcore.
Yeah.
Even if it's prescription. I think it is most of the addicts, like drug addicts in the U.S., is prescription based.
Sure.
Am I correct on that?
On a lot of it, absolutely. And a lot of the older people are, I don't have these statistics in front of me, but I thoroughly suspect that is the greatest proportion of addicts that are in the country. Mm-hmm. And that is by prescription. So people don't know. They automatically, because the doctor says, here, take this, they don't question it. That goes back to that Milgram experiment. Yeah.
Go eat some fucking dandelion root. Go eat some dandelion fritters. Those are damn good.
Those are good. It says, until recently, anxiety disorders were believed to decline with age. Well, now who? Who thought this? Somebody who had never been around older people? I mean, my God.
I've been around older people all my life. I know exactly how they work.
And it says there has been more research into depression and Alzheimer's than anxiety among seniors. But mental health experts are altering their views about anxiety. Anxiety disorders in seniors have been underestimated for several reasons. One of the main reasons is that older patients are more likely to emphasize their physical complaints and downplay emotional problems. Anxiety disorders are serious medical illnesses that affect approximately 40 million American adults, and they all involve excessive irrational fear. Anxiety disorders are chronic and can worsen if untreated. Now, one of the reasons that this is not studied as much, follow the money. Because as far as Alzheimer's and different things like that, that's where you get a lot of the research grants. That's where they stand to make more profit with new drugs.
Right.
Follow the money.
Yep.
And let's see. Panic disorders bring on sudden, unpredictable attacks of terror. These attacks can cause additional anxiety because victims worry about the next one. Older adults who get panic attacks usually had them when they were younger. So those of you who are younger, these things can happen when you're older.
I mean, I have panic attacks, but like they're not often.
Right.
But like when they hit, they hit.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing. And it says the following symptoms are of panic attacks: pounding heart.
Is it your birthday?
I can no longer do the English. The pounding heart, perspiration, dizziness, fainting, numb hands, nausea, chest pain, feeling that you're smothering, fear of loss of control, a sense that you're losing your mind or about to die. There's other symptoms of panic attack. You know, it just
a panic attack is a whole.
Sure, it is. I've had it to where it felt like things were going. Vision. Yeah, it is tunnel vision. Yeah, like, it's a horrible, horrible feeling.
It's horrible. It's like I've only had these panic attacks like once or twice, but like sometimes it's complete like blackout.
Yeah.
Panic.
Yeah, you feel like you're gonna pass out.
Yeah.
But it was always these horrific situations that I had found myself in. Then one of the other ones says, if you have obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD, you may be haunted by unwelcome thoughts or a need to engage in rituals. You may be obsessed with germs or dirt, so you wash your hands repeatedly. You may feel the need to check things repeatedly. And as far as the past couple of years, this is one of the reasons that you've got some people that they are absolutely panicked to think of going out without a face covering. Yeah.
Panicked because someone touched a doorknob once and they have to touch it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
The disturbing thoughts are called obsessions, and the rituals that are performed to try to prevent or get rid of them are called compulsions. Victims of OCD consume at least an hour a day with their compulsions. Then we've got post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, which can develop after a frightening experience. And often people with PTSD have repeated memories of the experience both during their waking hours and in nightmares. A person having a flashback may believe that the event is real, that is real, and that has to do with which side of the brain processes the trauma. we've discussed that before.
Yeah.
Victims of PTSD may have trouble sleeping, feel detached, or easily startled. They may have intimacy problems. They can become aggressive or even violent. And I was reading comments the other day. We, for a long time, thought of people who had been in military as being the only people who had PTSD. And one of the videos that I was watching, for whatever reason, someone had mentioned trauma, and whether it was real or imagined, it was, for them to use that term. And somebody who had been in the military had come back and was very upset that somebody else had used the term PTSD. But this PTSD it includes people who have been in the military, but it also includes people that have other kinds of trauma, childhood trauma, sexual assault, different things like that. So it's
car crashes.
Sure, any of that. It is a severe life-altering fear that causes the PTSD. The experiencers, that they were outside of the control of circumstances.
I have PTSD with bees.
That's phobia. That goes into a phobia.
I hate bees. I like bumblebees and I like honeybees. That's it.
Yeah. And now this is something that a lot of people have. Social phobia, which is also called social anxiety disorder, and that involves excessive self-consciousness in social situations. People with social phobia are afraid of being judged by others and being embarrassed by their own actions.
Me.
I do that too. There's a lot of people that do that.
That's why I just want to say fuck it and do what I want.
That's why I stay in the damn house, for real. Social phobics can be afraid of one type of situation, or they may experience symptoms almost any time they're around other people. Symptoms include blushing, sweating, trembling, nausea, and difficulty talking. But see, what happens with mine is the PTSD, and I'm just like, don't get up in my space. If I don't know somebody, do not get up in my space.
No.
So, because I will back up.
Don't touch me.
As close to.
No, you can touch me. You give me a hug. Give me a hug.
If I know you, I'm very approachable. But as far as somebody startling me, no, they likely to get punched, because I do have the PTSD and I do respond in an aggressive way. It's the training I've had. It is. So it says a specific phobia is an exaggerated fear of one thing. Some of the more common specific phobias are triggered by heights, animals such as snakes, closed spaces, and flying. And then we have generalized anxiety disorder, GAD or GAD, means excessive worry about a variety of things or life in general. People with GAD expect the worst and seem unable to relax. Often they have trouble falling or staying asleep. Anxiety disorders are treated with medication and psychotherapy, and both approaches can be effective for most disorders. And so hopefully that will bring a little more empathy and understanding to those who are around older adults, if you are one that is an older adult. Within this, for those who can use cannabis, I think that is a logical, viable option.
Don't abuse it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. It is an herbal medicine. And I'm not, promoting nor condoning, but I think from the research that I have read over the past quite a few years, that is a viable option to the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
So even with the older people, the stigma of it is what prevents a lot of them from even trying some of these things. But with the acceptance more of edibles and different things, that could give them an option for that.
Microdosing.
Yeah. And for those of us like myself that apparently are allergic to the shit, which is, I've had doctors that's like, damn, that's just sad. I did.
Oh, no.
And because I knew that it would help, but that's not an option for me at this point. And, it'll be all right.
That's okay.
Yeah, because I can occasionally have the rum in my coffee, and I'm happy with that.
You can have carbs.
I can have carbs. I have been in a better frame of mind for days.
Yeah, those carbs are good, man. Eat your slice of pizza. It's good.
Absolutely.
Listen, I would rather be fat, happy, and sassy than skinny and shitty.
I got to have a tuna sandwich today. A tuna sandwich on rye bread, and it was amazing. Yes.
Luxurious. You can have a BLT. Can I make you a BLT one day?
Yes, you can.
We need to get tomatoes.
I can have a dressed grilled cheese sandwich. Dressed means that it's the grilled cheese and it's got lettuce and tomato and stuff.
Mayonnaise.
Yeah. So good stuff. And see, instead of putting butter on the outside, you put mayonnaise on the outside so it browns nicely. That's restaurant style. Yes.
What does it say when you like your burnt, your bread burnt?
It's not burnt.
I like it to look burnt.
Well, it's just a little crispier. So this has
burnt.
nothing to do with the anxieties of people as they age.
Yes, it does, because these things bring joy.
Well, I guess that's true.
Who the fuck is traumatized by a sandwich?
I don't know. Maybe somebody stuffed one up their nose. We don't know.
They got slapped with a sandwich the one time.
Someone threw a sandwich at them and caused them trauma.
Really? So, anyhow, it's a matter of understanding fear. It's a matter of overcoming it. Even if you recognize that you're doing this, and to sit there and go, this is not how I want to live my life. I do not want to live in fear. Then that way you can sort of have a battle plan of how to combat it.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of being alone, find a system around you. If it's family, if it's friends, community, whatever, look for them. There are places on the internet and stuff that can give you like gathering places, people that's got similar ideas and stuff. Confront those fears.
Don't be like the troll doll that apparently got zapped by lightning.
This is me. If it had blacker hair, it's like every year I look more and more like that little troll doll.
The Frankenstein one.
And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that.
They're adorable. I like the troll dolls.
It's all right.
Can someone help me find a reasonably priced Frankenstein troll doll, please? Don't buy it for me. Someone help me find it. Give me the search for it. Give me the link. Send Mama the link for me. I've been looking for one of those for years. Please help me.
Anyhow, the spirit of fear. God did not give us the spirit of fear.
No, he gave us troll dolls to give us.
Absolutely. He gives us joy. He gives us spirits of courage and stuff. You do not have to live in fear. If you've had experiences with you're doing it. He throws me off my game every time.
I'm not even doing it.
You're sitting there. You're sitting there with that look.
I'm just breathing. This is my face. This is the face I got. I don't know what you expect, man.
Oh, God. If you've had experiences with the paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, if you have found yourself becoming more fearful, if you've got local, regional, family, myths, legends, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. Email address will be in the description box also, so you don't have to try to remember everything. Know that you're loved. Know that you're appreciated. Know that you're not alone. If you feel alone, give us an email, and I will respond to you.
I'm a worker, so don't expect much from me.
Learn to speak out.
Can I speak out in like whimpers?
No.
Screams?
No. Well, maybe.
Like tiny screams? Like
yes, the adrenal scream.
Yeah. The kidneys. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications for our daily uploads. I almost had it. I should probably add the commenting thing as one of the most important things, because that's very important too. We want to hear y'all.
Yeah, I mean, their opinion is But we also value if they choose not to. That's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to, but you know,
So,
if you would, this is a safe space. Just don't say anything hateful. Be respectful.
it depends on what is, you know. Unless it's heinous, it would have to be heinous for me to totally get rid of a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't put up with racist shit.
Oh, none of that.
Like, even if it's vaguely racist, I'm not like...
No, none of that as far as name callings and stuff like that. I mean, my God, I don't think that our audience is that immature.
No, I know that, but, like, there once in a while there are, like, trolls
That's
and
for
such.
your age group. That's not for my age group.
Yeah.
So, I don't think
forget-
we've got any TikTokers on our channel, for real.
Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion.
Oh, God.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification button for notifications of our daily uploads. Thank you all. Have a good... Eat a sandwich. Eat a lovely hot dog.
Enjoy every sandwich. Warren Zevon. God love him.
Eat a lovely burger.
You all have a beautiful, blessed day, and we'll see you on the next cup. Bye.
Bye. Get one of those good In-N-Out burgers. One of those good burgers.
With fries.
Those good steak fries, too.
Yeah.
Curly fries. Go to Arby's. Bye.